on our YouTube channel at lvchamber.com. And now I'd like to introduce our speaker for Chamber U today, Event Director for Largest Mixer Events, Steve Bernhardt.
Good morning, Danica. Thank you very much, and thank you for the Las Vegas Metro Chamber and yourself to allow us this opportunity. We're very excited. Hopefully we can be of some value. All right, well, I guess we'll get started. So let's go. I'm not going to just read every one of these PowerPoints, but maybe we'll start with this one and just to kind of get us in the right mindset here. So in today's buyer-empowered world, marketers need to seize every opportunity to start a relationship, generate goodwill, and earn the trust of prospective buyers. It's tempting to want to stick with marketing tactics that take the least amount of time and money to execute, but it's often not your company's best interest to do so. A solid marketing mix that incorporates event marketing is critical, connecting with as many potential customers as possible. So, the world is changing. Our customer bases are becoming more diverse, and how we reach them is even though we have more opportunities and ways to reach people now than ever, it really comes down to how effective those methods of building customer relationships, meeting new customers, and meeting our business objectives are achieved. So let's kind of just give a little bit. So what we do in my business is we put on an event. We put on a large-scale business mixing, networking event where local businesses come together to make new connections, showcase their businesses, renew past business relationships, again, getting face-to-face with their customers. So this is a recent study that was recently done that measured what high-performing, overachieving companies, what they do with their marketing mix. Where do they put their money? Where do they find it's most effective for building their customer base? So maybe just give you a little background on the study. It was about 400 businesses using a variety of different matrices. They determined if they were an overachieving company or an underachieving company. And in this case, this graph shows that most marketers from overperforming organizations use the effectiveness of event marketing for meeting their business objectives. And you can see here that the number one channel for them is using live events, getting out of the office, getting their product, getting their salespeople, getting their marketing people, getting their representatives face-to-face with their potential customers. It could be business-to-consumer customers, or it could be business-to-business customers. You can see second one that we seem to rely on a lot today is content marketing. So that would be all your blogging, your social media, that type of thing. It even outpowers that for them. So again, think about, always follow the best practices of the most successful organizations. And right now, the most successful organizations are utilizing live events, event marketing to drive their business. Here's just another study that was done back in 2015, which sounds like a long time ago now, right? But this is targeted strictly in a B2B category, so you're thinking maybe your classic trade shows, for example, that they are finding the effectiveness of all the different things, webinars, videos, blogs, all the different ways that business-to-business marketers reach their audiences, that still in-person events was the most effective method for building their businesses. Okay, so again, in general, why face-to-face? I mean, really, why do we want to get out? And I think the title of this was, get out from behind your keyboard and get in front of your customers. What are some of the benefits and what are some of the challenges that are forcing us to go outside of our normal marketing mix of, if it's email, if it's radio, television, print, a lot of the traditional media, what are some of the reasons to start thinking about if you're not doing it now, why you need to start thinking about your business or your organization, seeking out events, or we're going to talk about creating events. There's a lot of different ways to get in front of your customers, but here's some of the reasons why. One, consumers are becoming blind and more jaded to traditional advertising like TV, radio, print, as well as online media sources. I mean, the clutter is, I used to sell radio 20 years ago. I used to be in the radio business, and one of the things we always talked about in that era was clutter. Well, think about it today. We're 20 years, that was before the internet. So think about all the advertising messages that people get hit with today. If you don't have the budgets to do reach and frequency today, and you're not effective and you're not doing these efficiently, you can throw a lot of good money after bad, and a lot of consumers are tuning things out. I mean, we even have things now on our televisions now that can help strip out the commercials. So it's, there's a reason. If we still rely on just traditional advertising methods to drive our businesses, those are really becoming less effective all the time. Another opportunity reason, showcase your business in front of a live audience. Captive audience allows you to get buy-in to your product and service much quicker. So again, in front of somebody, when you can demonstrate something, they can touch it, they can feel it, is much more powerful than seeing a video or a picture or somebody verbally describing it to them. This is an opportunity for you to touch your customers, to touch your product, touch your service. Offers a low-cost way of reaching your target audience in traditional media. I don't know if you've done any pricing lately of what a radio campaign is, or an outdoor campaign is, or an email, direct mail campaign is. With rising print costs and rising postage costs, it's expensive. This is if you're creative and get your business in front of people for a relatively low cost. So have a high impact opportunity to get in front of your customers at a much less cost than traditional media. Cutting through the clutter. We already kind of touched on that. Events facilitate face-to-face discussions with potential customers. Helping you establish a more personal and intimate relationship is nearly impossible to create in a digital space. Again, it's all about getting your message there and allowing people to be able to absorb your message and respond and react to your message and provide you feedback and ask questions and buy into what you're doing to get them motivated to be interested in purchasing your service or your product. And again, that's more difficult in that static environment of a lot of the traditional advertising or finding that through that clutter. Generate brand recognition. 8 out of 10 people who take part in experiential marketing, that's another term for event marketing, experiential marketing, pass on their experience to someone else. Make sure your brand is part of the memory. So again, you put something in front of somebody, now all of a sudden we always talk about brand, right? Brand is important. But, looking at a logo or, a name of a company or whatever you do to identify your brand, that's important. But all of a sudden, if you put a face to that, it just exponentially increases the value of, and it sticks with people. When rather than just seeing a logo now, it's John or it's Danica. So like for example, Las Vegas Metro Chamber, to see the logo is one thing. But when I think of Las Vegas Metro Chamber, for me, I think of the people. I think of Art and I think of Danica, and that's where the value is. Generate feedback immediately about your product or service. Events allow consumers to evaluate you offer in person and then provide valuable feedback in real time. So it gives you opportunity. So again, when you're trying to, trying to convince somebody that your brand is worth pursuing, your products are worth buying, a lot of times if it's done by a TV commercial or a print thing, you don't have that opportunity, right, to answer a question or even objection, and this gives you an opportunity to be able to state your case for your service or your product right face-to-face with somebody. And again, you can't do that anyplace else. There's no other place where you can do that. And a lot of times that's the difference between success and failure, is being able to make sure your prospect has a clear idea of what you do, so you take out any ambiguity. That can often happen in traditional advertising. And again, also, hey, we all know, especially in the world of sales and marketing, there's going to be objections out there. This is an environment that allows us, we don't want to turn our back on those things and ignore them. We want to be able to face them head on and be able to, talk to people and say, well, this is why it's this way, or clarify in their minds that maybe that's creating the objection that shouldn't exist. And face-to-face marketing definitely allows us to do that. And maybe, again, this is a new one now for us, that continues to grow and face us every day, and I talk to people all the time. In our business, I deal with, hundreds and hundreds of businesses a year. And the most common thing that most businesses have today is your competition is now only a mouse click away. There is not a product or service out there, and if you are, you're very lucky, that's not one click away from somebody taking the business from you and putting it online. We're getting to the point now where you can do your eye exams online, which is going to take people away from optometrists. There's Teladoc is coming out there where we're going to be able to do online things with doctors. Now, again, we're always going to need doctors, right? But we're going to need less time of going to the doctor's office for common things, prescription refills, we've got a cold, those types of things. And that's going to consolidate, in my opinion, it's going to consolidate some of those businesses. And there's other industries that I can talk about out there, the classics, the video stores, the booksellers and stuff and other categories out there that are been almost eliminated due to the internet. So how do you keep your customer or prospective customer from going online and buying from somebody who knows where they're fulfilling it from versus buying it here locally from you? And that's through relationships. And again, if somebody has met you in person at an event, you've built a rapport, you've created a line of communication with that individual, it is a lot harder for them to pick up and be motivated to click that mouse button. And I think that's right now maybe one of the, in my opinion, one of the most important, if nothing else that we've talked about motivates you to do live events or get out and get in front of your customers, this should be the one that should. Because again, relationships is personal relationships, people having a value of your brand in their hearts and minds is what's going to be the difference of them picking up the phone and making an appointment to come and buy from you or getting in their car and driving to your store versus clicking that mouse button and having it delivered to their door the next day. That's going to be the difference going forward. So, all right, so now hopefully I've motivated you to say, hey, well, we're not doing this now. We need to get out. We need to get our business face-to-face with people. How do we do it? What's our opportunities? And there's a lot of opportunities out there. In fact, right today with things like Meetup or 10 Times, or there's a variety of different calendars out there that are, you can go to an event center's event calendar. For example, we do an event at the Pasadena Convention Center. You go on the Pasadena Convention Center website, and you can see out for the next 3 or 4 months the events that are happening there, or any of the venues that we use. You can do that. But there's a variety of different sources out there where you can identify events that you think, hey, that's where our customers would be. So, obviously on the B2B side, the industry trade shows. Right here, we live in Las Vegas, man. This is the granddaddy of them all, are right here in Las Vegas. So maybe even take a look and see if some of the trade shows that are going on here. Granted, a lot of them bring customers from outside the market, but maybe you are, something where you do business outside the market. So, but look at our industry trade shows. Community events. There's all types of different community events that cater to different, could be, ethnically driven, where it's an Italian festival or something like that. It could be, a pet fair, people bring their pets together. These are all great opportunities to get your business out there in front of people and make them aware of who you are and build, and again, put a face-to-face with it. Private business events. There's a variety. To some degree, what we do with the largest mixer is we're open to the entire business community, but we're a business-oriented event, business-to-business event. Events like ours, come out in great opportunity to meet lots of like-minded business professionals that are looking to do business with other business professionals. Chambers of Commerce events. Hey, next, 2 weeks, we got the pop-up business.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks, we got the pop-up business. Hey, every business professional in Las Vegas should be at this event. Great opportunity to come out and meet people face-to-face. I don't know if there's still opportunities to exhibit your business, but if there's an opportunity, you showcase your business at a very reasonable cost. And again, it's, I always say one of the big benefits of showcasing your business at an event is it's like a giant business card. By having some signage and some smiling faces there and some marketing literature, it lets people know who you are, and it actually creates like a magnet effect. It draws people to you. So look at those types of events. Company created events. I always talk about people are always looking for getting involved in other people's events. Why not create your own? You have a great story to tell at your own business. It doesn't have to be 2,000 people. Even if it's just a really solid event with some really quality, prospects and the proper people at your event of 25 or 30 or 40 or 50 people at an event at your own offices or some off-site property is fantastic. So think about even creating your own event. And then I just put, charity events. Obviously, there's a lot of charity events. Get involved in those types of things. They're looking for sponsors. They're looking for exhibitors. They're looking for people who can make contributions to their events to create awareness and bring excitement to their events. Be one of those people. Put something unique together that you can take out to an event, and that would create value for an event like a charity event, and they would definitely welcome you at their event. And the last one I put up the question mark is the sky's the limit. There's a ton of different opportunities, to get involved. The other day I was at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and they have a ton of people that come out there, and this really isn't, well, I guess it's an event, but there's a lot of people that come out there and use the perimeter of the Rose Bowl as a place to run and walk in the mornings. And there were some business kiosks set up out there that were helping, handing out water and those kinds of things. But they were also branding their companies. They were out there making a connection. And I thought it was, really smart. Yeah, you got to be out there at 5:30 in the morning, and you got to bring the bottled water, and you got to get the approval, I'm sure. I don't think they allow anybody to come set up. But, I think of that as an event. It's a walking and running event in the city of Pasadena around the Rose Bowl every morning. And here's an opportunity to somehow maybe make a contribution back to the community, help these people facilitate what they're doing, get your brand out in front of them, create some communications there. You definitely will build some relationships, no doubt about it. So think outside the box. So what can I accomplish? We're going to do an event. What are we going to accomplish here? One is build and strengthen relationships. That's what it's all about. That should be number one. That's why I put number one. Take off your sales hat a lot of times when you go to a lot of these events. I think that's the killer for some of these events is too many people come there with a sales objective. I want to sell you something. A lot of these events, that's not what people are looking for. They're looking to make the initial contacts. I always say you can never sell to a client you've never met. So, and also maybe I'll throw one more adage in there. One time many years ago, a gentleman, when I got into the sales business many years ago, told me, he said, you can shear a sheep once, but you can only slaughter it. You can shear a sheep many times, but you can only slaughter it once. Sorry, I screwed up a great analogy there. Meaning that, if you try to go after somebody right away and you burn a bridge with them or it doesn't happen, you're never going to get a second chance. So think more about building relationships. And some of these relationships will turn into business tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. You've got to have that kind of mentality that it's not about, I got to sell this person right now. It's about creating a relationship. It's about creating a line of communication. Obviously, make new business contacts. We all need to make new business contacts. They might be, people that we can build a strategic relationship with, or people that we can, that might even do, they might not do business with, we might not buy from us, but we may buy from them because we need good businesses to work with as well. Obviously, generate sales leads. And again, how we build those leads and nurture those leads and over time is critical. Introduce your business to a new audience. Hey, we've always got to be bringing new customers. We've got to always creating new people that are aware of what we do. This is a great way to do it. Distribute special offers. There's a lot of businesses out there that are conducive to, couponing or special offers or, those types of things. Get those out in front of people. It's definitely a motivator to get them to come to your business or pay attention to what you're doing. Promote an upcoming event. With our event, one thing I emphasize to a lot of people is use our event to promote their event. So it's a great opportunity. If you've got, again, we talked earlier about maybe creating your own in-house event. Use another event to then invite people, give them tickets, invitations, whatever, to then come to your event where you can even touch them a little bit closer. Introduce or test a new product or service idea. We all got great new products that we are introducing in the market, or we got great ideas, but we all sit around in a conference room all debating if this is a good idea or a bad idea or whatever. Get it out in front of people. They'll tell you. They'll be honest with you. They'll tell you if they like it or not. Hey, it's better for somebody to tell you your baby's ugly and not invest a lot of money or make the necessary changes to be successful, but rather than just taking kind of guessing and hoping, get it out in front of people. Again, identify strategic partners. I mean, that's something I think a lot of businesses underestimate. Knowing and having good relationships with other businesses that have I work with a group that uses the term power partners, is a very good way to build your business, and these types of events help you introduce yourself to those people. Find potential investors. Sometimes you're looking for money, you want to grow your business. A lot of times at some of these events, not all of them, like I said, we talked about like a little community fair or something earlier. It may not be the best place to find an investor, but maybe a high-profile business event might be a good place to be reaching out and letting people know that you're looking for people to invest in your business. And we're always looking for good people, right? Recruiting employees. We're at 4% unemployment right now, but you know what? We can always use good employees. So going to good events where they're going to attract good quality people is a great place to, even if you don't need to hire today, it's never bad to have people in the pipeline. And these kind of events can help you meet those kinds of people that, you develop relationships. You might not need somebody today, but this gentleman that you met who's an IT guy, or this person who's a marketing professional, or this person who's a sales professional, 6 months from now, you might need him. And by having created that relationship, meeting him at this event, you've got somebody already in the pipeline, so when you need them, you can move. All right. Not showing up is not enough. This comes from personal experience operating an event. I see this all the time. And so just showing up to an event is not enough. So we've created the 25-25-50 rule for event success at the largest mixer. And this applies, we always tell this to our largest mixer clients, but this applies, in my opinion, to anybody who's doing any type of event. So if you want to be successful, here's what you need to do. First 25% of your effort is pre-event, okay? So taking the time before the event to understand what's your messaging going to be, what are your goals for the event, getting your marketing materials together, training your staff, what are the expectations of the staff, making sure you have the right people staffed. You want people that are motivated. You want people that are going to, that aren't afraid to put out their hand and introduce themselves. You've got to train that staff. Displays and signage. What type of advanced marketing do you want to do? I mean, maybe you want to reach out and you want to invite some of your clients, or you definitely want to, we always say at ours, we want people to promote the event because obviously the more people that are at our event, the more successful it is for everybody. So that's 25% of the effort is before you've ever gotten to the day of the event is getting your ducks in order. And I'll be honest with you, I see a lot of people at our events that don't do that. They show up at the event, when they drop their stuff down on their table, that's the first time they've thought about the event. And I'll tell you what, those are people that are not successful. The people that come in prepared, the people that come in with a goal, the people that come in excited and they're ready to execute, those are the people that are going to be successful. Am I doing okay on time?
Yeah, you're great.
I'm afraid I'm going to overrun, so I'm kind of going kind of fast here, so I hope I'm not going too fast. 25% is the event itself. And so really what you're doing at the event, what are you doing? You're executing what you did in your pre-event planning, right? You got your people doing what they're supposed to be doing, what they were trained and ready to do. You're distributing the materials that you designed and prepared. You're executing everything that you wanted to accomplish, and also kind of part of the event. Let me step back. This pre-event planning is you need to think ahead as what you're going to do after the event. Okay. So during this pre-event planning, what are you going to do after the event to do the follow-up and build those relationships, and what's going to be your plan afterwards? And then again, during the event itself, you're making sure you're staying on task to accomplish those things. So we get to that last 50%. 50% of the effort to be successful, in my opinion, and I've seen this many, many times, and I can, if you ever want to reach out to me, I can give you examples of people that follow this plan, is post-event follow-up. Let's say, for example, you do an event like ours, and you've met some good prospects there. If after the event, if you don't follow up with them, if you don't set the lunch, if you don't, share the social media, if you don't schedule the meetings, you don't do the things, you don't stay in touch with them on a regular basis and let that relationship mature, then the event will be a failure for you. I talk to people all the time in our world that mention to me, hey, I just got a nice piece of business from somebody I met at our event 6 months ago. 8 months ago, a year ago. I mean, I hear it all the time. And though I do have we hear success stories of people that, did something and built a relationship at the event that materialized into something immediately, majority of the success stories I hear were because of the relationship development following the event. And again, if you would have just packed up at the end of the event, regardless if it's our event or any event, and went home and threw the business cards on the shelf or whatever, you would never have had that the outcome would have never come. So always think about it. Again, 25% pre-event, 25% event, 50% of your effort is that follow-up afterwards. I could do a whole thing on different ways to execute post-event follow-up. Maybe Danica will invite me back some other time and we could talk about that. Or you can reach out to me directly and I can share some success stories. So again, think about that. So you're going to do your first event, right? All right. We all agree. So now find your event, and then again, go into that 25, 50 mindset, and you'll definitely enhance your possibilities, your success rate. All right, so this one I want to address. Let's just talk about that. It didn't work. So you did an event and it didn't work. So whatever that means, right? So, again, I think for a lot of people when you hear this terminology, because I meet people out there I talk to that do, do events and don't want to do any more events. Oh, I did one and it didn't work. First of all, my thing is make sure you're at the right event. There are events that are obviously going to be better than others. The quality of the organization or obviously your target audience, those types of things. So make sure you do your homework just don't jump into any event. Make sure the event makes sense for your business. So again, the quality of events can vary, so do your homework to ensure it's a well-organized event delivers your target audience. So that's the first thing. But my opinion is, in most cases, if you don't get the results you want from it, it's most likely failing to execute the 25-20-50 rule of event success than itself. So, if you ever do an event and you don't get the results you want, my thing is if it was a good quality event and it delivered your target audience, then you really got to look in the mirror and say, hey, did we plan properly? Were our goals realistic? Did we execute? Did we do the correct follow-up? Did we execute the event properly? And I think you'll find somewhere in there that maybe there's definitely some room for improvement. I put this one in here because again we were just talking about it didn't work, and this one says, I find your lack of ability to stay off your phone disturbing. And the reason why I put that in there is I observe people at our exhibitors at our events, and I will see people that are doing things like they'll have 2,000 people in a room, and they'll be behind their table on their phone, or they'll be sitting down looking very uninviting. And the key to event success is you've got to engage. And so you really have to look at it and say, when you're putting these events together, am I the type of person who likes to go out and smile and shake hands and interact with people? Because if you're not, then you've got to find those people that do for your event. So, go to the event, put your phones away, put everything else away, get in the moment, and really take advantage of, connecting to the people around you. We all probably go to different, networking events and that kind of stuff, and you do. You see the difference in the people. You see the people that are going around and actively engaging people, and you see other people that are a little clustered in their little, little clique, or they're all sitting over there on their phone or everything like that. It's easy to see. And definitely if you probably talk to those people after the event, those that were probably actively engaging, that was a great event. I really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to doing the next one. The person that was sitting on their phone or in their little clique of three, that was okay, or no, it was a dud, or whatever. It's just, to me, what I'm trying to analogize here is it really is it's get what you put into it, get how much you engage yourself into the event is very, very critical. So put the phones away. All right, so I know I've thrown a lot at you here. So here's the thinking that if your organization is not, when you're sitting down and you're thinking about your marketing mix of how you get the messaging out for your business out to your target audience, and if event marketing right now is not part of that, you need to make it part of your marketing mix. So I just we always think of broadcast TV, radio as a given, right? The old traditionals, the print and the direct mails, the social media and online, the outdoor, the billboards, the telemarketing, whatever you use. If event marketing is not portion of that now, you need to make it a portion of your marketing mix. And again, just going all the way back, and we won't have to go back to it, but again, those high-achieving organizations, right now, live events was their highest percentage of, they measured it as their highest, most effective part of their marketing mix. Even though they're still doing these things, it's not like, well, we're going to quit doing TV, we're going to quit doing all these other things, we're just going to do events. You might be able to get away with it, but it should be part of what you do. So find an event, sign up for that event, commit to that event, put your plan in place, execute the event, execute your follow-up, and I think you'll find that it will bring a whole new element to your business that may not exist right now. So, enough said. I got to catch my breath.
All right. Well, again, if anyone wants to ask a question, you can feel free to do so in the chat box in the bottom left corner of the screen. I'm going to put your information back up here.
Please do.
There was a lot of information, but I just want to reiterate all of that because there is nothing more important than getting your business information out there than attending an event. And I know for my side, I'm from the communication side of everything. The Chamber loves coming to your events, and I know that you guys get a lot of great feedback from our events as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I absolutely recommend to anyone who's looking to do any of the things that you listed, build your business in any sort of way, that event marketing is definitely the way to go. So
sure.
If there aren't any questions, or if you have a question afterwards that you think of, feel free to get in contact with Steve. I can always send or contact the Chamber, and we can get you in touch with him directly. Do we know when the Las Vegas?
Las Vegas' largest mixer, which would be the 14th annual, holy cow, 14 years, will be Thursday, September 20th, from 4 to 8 p.m. at Texas Station Hotel and Casino. Everybody is invited. We work hard to put on a great show. We'll have probably about 125 to 130 exhibiting businesses. The local chambers of commerce will be there in Las Vegas Metro. Just a kind of a side note, chambers of commerce have always been we're the foundation of the largest mixer and a critical component. So, it's a good opportunity to come out and find how the Chamber of Commerce can help you grow your business. We'll have about a dozen restaurants out there. Man, we got a nice lineup of restaurants coming in. We just got Famous Dave's, we got Maggiano's, we've got anybody else recent new signups? It's hectic, but yeah, Famous Dave's and Maggiano's just signed on. Those are the most two current. So you're going to have some great opportunities to do a little sampling. We'll be a Team Referral Network will be there doing some speed networking, and we're doing more and more at our events to help facilitate people interacting with one another.
Yeah.
So, but the most important thing, and just like we kind of reiterated several times here, is you got to come to these events. If it's a networking event, if it's an event marketing type of an event, you really have to come. You got to let the deflector shields down. You got to put a smile on your face. You got to get your head up. You got to put your phone away. You got to wear a name tag. Name tag to me is important because that communicates that you are open and accepting people. Want people to know who you are and to be able to introduce themselves. And we always say at the largest mixer is successful business relationships begin with an introduction and a handshake. Our event provides the introduction, but you provide the handshake. And I think that's the thing. You've got to come into any of these events that we just talked about is be prepared to extend your hand and introduce yourself to people and break that ice and start that conversation. That's where it all begins.
Well, awesome. Just to answer the question, this is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel, so you'll have access to this entire presentation all over again up on our YouTube channel. It should be up later today. But I want to thank you so much, Steve,
this was awesome.
The Largest Mixer, for joining us and for hosting this Chamber University webinar, our final one of the semester. And I hope to see everyone in September for our 2018 fall semester. So thank you again, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.